Anybody want to call meeting to order? I'll do it. Meeting called to order by me at, let's see, 5:54. We'll pick the chair and then they can do it next time. Okay. Caroline Harris?
Present.
Marty?
Present.
Linda?
Present.
Annie?
Present.
And Peter?
Here.
Jody?
Yep.
Matt's excused this time, and I'm present. All right, so do we have any calls to the public? Nope. All right. Anybody want to approve the action agenda from last time? I'll make a motion to.
I move we approve the action agenda from last meeting.
Do you have a second?
Second. That was August 3rd meeting.
Okay. All right, so old business discussion and possible approval of possible chair for the cemetery committee. And before we get into that, I think everybody introduced all our new members, so most of you guys seem to know each other. We're all good there? Okay. So we know who they're voting for then. Okay. So, anybody want to make any recommendations for someone they think could do a good job, or anybody that wants to just grab the hammer?
I'll nominate Linda.
Linda, how do you feel about that?
Whatever everybody wants. So if there's another, bring up another.
Anybody else? Do I have a vote? Discussion and possible approval? Nobody else wants it? No?
I'll second that.
Okay. Marty seconds. Okay, Caroline. I think the chair is normally doing the vote. I think we have to have a, do you know if we have to have a vote? Yeah, so it's not.
Yeah.
So since there's no chair officially, we got a recommendation and a second. Can we go ahead and do a aye or nay, I guess? Does that work, you think?
Sure, I don't see why not.
Okay. Peter, aye, nay? Aye.
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Alright, everybody's good with that. So congratulations, Linda.
Thank you.
You're the chair. You're the power.
Thank you to you. That's outstanding.
Yep, go ahead and take the meeting now.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll need your help. Okay. Voted. Chair. Excellent. Okay.
Do you have any extra agendas?
Yeah. Need, did everything? Did you get this too?
I got that, just not this one.
Is there anything, shall I say it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, number 2, discussion on samples of signs of cemetery rules. I don't have any samples for you guys. What I wanted to do, have you guys seen the park signs we've been putting up?
Yes.
That's what we'd like to stick with for most of our parks, that kind of design, and start being a little more uniform with how we were doing it. The shape is something we could vote on. I can give you guys a little bit more, some shapes and email you, and you could look at that. Or if you're fine with those park ones, we'll work on the rules later on, check that out, and then I could put a demo together, depending on what we see.
Yeah, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we haven't seen what rules already exist. Like,
Yep.
We're not even, don't even care about
That's
what
part
the
of-
sign is yet. Let's see the rules,
Want the rules on?
revise them, see if we wanna make new ones.
They have the old Douglas, I mean, I think that's where they got them from, was the.
Yeah, we've seen this picture of the Douglas sign, but I don't, like, this is, city code that relates to the cemetery, but it's not any rules, like, there's no rules. So
That's it, so.
We need to make them.
Right, we can go
Okay.
ahead and make some rules and, propose them to the council to.
So can we do that as an assignment tonight, and you guys come on the next meeting, bring what rules you want in there, and then you can,
That's number 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Discussion on
it
possible
looks like
changes
number
to
five,
recommended
Thank you.
rules.
I didn't have this before.
it looks like
Okay,
number 5 has a lot
carry
of
on.
the rules, they just
Okay.
need to be worded in a way.
I think it's a great idea, the rules. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just table that until we work on the other aspect, figuring out the rules.
Should I send Lorena a picture of the Douglas sign rules, and then she can share it with the whole committee?
Yeah, absolutely. Or me, I can do that too, either one.
Okay, I'm gonna look for that now.
I know, I was thinking about it.
Took a photo a long time ago.
I thought we were taking a picture of the rules.
Okay. So that one, we'll go ahead and table number 2, and if you guys are good, we'll go on to number 3. Discussion on Pioneer Walk proceeds and where they were allocated. This, I'm gonna have to email you guys. I didn't hear back from Carrie, she doesn't work on Monday, so I couldn't bug her in the office. I should have emailed her from last time you guys did that, but I didn't do it until I went to go look at this meeting and saw it was a follow-up, so.
What are we calling the Pioneer Walk?
Yeah.
What is the Pioneer Walk?
Oh, that's what I call, I thought you guys were calling the
Just
ghost
historic,
tour.
Yeah, it's historic,
Pioneer
no, it
Walk.
was historic cemetery tour.
Historic cemetery tour?
And I'm trying to think, that weekend, I wanna say it was
Halloween tour.
Monday or Tuesday after
Oh, the
the
Halloween
tours,
tour.
when I went into City Hall, because I didn't wanna sit, because I had the money,
Yeah.
and I turned it over to them, and I believe I gave them the receipts too, the receipt book.
Well, they have, I mean, if anything, the question following up was more like, what happens once it's donated? Is
Okay.
it going to a separate fund with the
Okay.
general fund and it's
Yeah.
notated how much was donated, or, so,
Yes.
that's what we get the clarification on.
So we don't have one at this time?
An answer? No, I failed you guys there. So, but I will go ahead and email you this week once Carrie, I'll run into your office, get an answer, and email everybody on the list. Okay. So, done with that one. Number 4, discussion on updated information for the cemetery brochure.
Okay, let's see, I gotta look ahead and make sure other stuff's coming to the process. Okay, and that wouldn't be a new business. So, not much has happened here, I just know that there's 2 typos, numbers, and then the spelling of Dubacker's name. So, I thought I wanted to start with the museum to find out, because in my mind, it would emanate from their website. Here's the cemetery tour, here's the QR codes, this is in English and this is in Spanish. Please visit our cemetery and do the self-guided tour.
Yeah.
So that's all. In the meantime, I have still the maps that Carmen Falcone from the Project Bisbee Wildlife made. I have a big box of them, but I was holding out on them, and I'll talk about that when we talk about the Bisbee Home Tour.
Okay.
So I'll approach the mining museum unless somebody thinks it would, because other people have come to me saying, oh, we have money for the cemetery though. So, but I thought just in the way cities run and history is recorded, shouldn't it be done with the Bisbee Mining Museum? What do you guys think?
I think.
I should probably abstain from his comments.
You could answer questions. though, I suppose, yeah.
We're discussing the brochure,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
is this the one that?
Updating the self-guided tour.
Yeah, and it's got the little map and everything on it. That, you were talking last time about QR code, and you've got all that done, right? It's online.
Yep.
And people can access it and download it.
And that's the only place we have it at this time,
At
it's
the time,
online.
yeah.
At the Bisbee City website,
Yep.
not the museum website
Correct.
or any tourist website, just the city, if somebody went to the city. And then, so yeah, I'm just, brainstorming where do you guys think we would start with that, and then I did put flags on all the graves that are on that tour, and I, with permanent marker, I marked the flag. It didn't show up very much. And then the old markers, I think that those were maybe from PD, or that, to me, they seem like the flags that you see on work trucks. And they're rotted, and don't touch them with your hands, because it's like you get
Sorry.
glass, like.
Oh, they're so old, they're coming apart
They
from
might-
fiberglass.
They might
Yeah, the
have
fiberglass.
though.
So I was like, oh, what's this? And I was gonna
Where
pull on
are
it,
they?
and I cut my hand.
What flags are these?
So they're not, they don't have flags anymore, but this is, I believe, the way they identify the graves on this self-guided tour, because there's a few key graves.
That's what I like.
There's still some out there, but they don't have a flapping flag on it. It's just a long white thing, and it was like they're put in the ground really well. Like I could see redoing it, but it does. They do rot after 20 years.
That's something that I could have the guys do, and it will be at low expense where it's not gonna be anything.
I think that's cool. If it's not an expense, at least then it helps people see what they're looking for. If they when they do the self-guided tour.
Yeah.
You could even do like a reflector, you know, how you have the reflector stick.
Yeah.
And then even place the reflector with a number,
Oh,
like
that's
it's
a good
on the
idea.
map.
Yeah,
So,
some sort of
QR
marking.
code number 1,
Yeah.
and then you hit it there, and they stand nice and tall, so you can get the ones, because I used to have them from my house.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, just replace the reflector, or cover the reflector with a number of the grade that's on that tour.
Yeah, so it's just, I thought, you know, you start thinking about it, and then what lasts a long time, because otherwise it's just things rot, and it'll be 10 years from now we'll be replacing them. You know, that could be something that at a future time to get like really something set in stone, and, or maybe we don't want to make the tour that permanent, but that's what I investigated so far.
Okay. And I had a question too, when we spoke on the updating information, I was thinking you were talking about more or less another guide, like updating other graves and everything, is that correct?
You know, that's a possibility, and I think that was from when you talk to Mike Anderson, you get very excited about all the very cool people that live there. So it is a possibility, yes, to be developed, but in my mind, I'm thinking, let's fix what we have first before we develop something else.
Okay.
And that self-guided tour is pretty good. There are some major folks on that. And it's nice because it's just straight up the main pathway. It's not all over you know, it could just be a walk up and walk back, and you see all those people.
The key is self-guided.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of the other people are in different parts. The Halloween tour people were different, and they were all, you know, that was a big walk all over the place. So I like this for a start. Let's get this going and get it right, and then from there, keep the momentum going, and then develop different
Well,
tours.
this is more of a hands-on, in your home, some type thing. We've got to also get with the, well, we'll go on. But you know, we've got to get that cemetery respectable. That's,
So,
every time I speak, that's what I'm going to
it's
say.
all others.
Sorry, but
I have a question, going back to the brochures.
Yes.
When you mentioned the museum, are you talking about having brochures at the museum?
Yes, I think any place where tourists
Or
go,
at the,
museum,
at the
both
visitor
museums.
center,
Wine tour.
So
wine
that's,
tour,
I have
yeah.
3 places,
Right,
the
right.
visitor center and both.
Right, okay.
So you're
museums.
talking where to put our
The actual physical
brochures.
brochures.
I
Are you
would
saying
say,
having
No.
the museum and the cemetery together?
I'm saying all these places should advertise, please go visit our cemetery. There's beautiful
Yeah.
history in our cemetery. And then they can get the QR code. But I'm saying, I'm advocating eliminating these paper maps eventually.
Okay.
But right now, we have a big stack, and I'm just holding on to them because of the home tour. And then after the home tour, I'm gonna distribute them to those 3 places. I said I was gonna do that last time, and I just haven't because I never got this updated information about the home tour.
Okay. Is there anything else on that? Okay.
If I may, we'd be delighted to have them at the museum. And both kind of out front as well as in the research library where they can be utilized.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And regarding totally disregarding paper, I would always have some printed materials available. I've learned over the years we can't make assumptions about people's level of technology. I still know more than a few people who were flip phone folks, and so QR code would be above their tech capabilities, or some people just don't want a smartphone. So I know that that is an additional expense, but I would think that the printing wouldn't, the cost of printing wouldn't be that great.
And personally, when I go on a trip, I bring back all kinds of brochures
Yeah,
that
my
I keep
keepsake, yeah.
and keep looking at, and if I want to go back somewhere, then I've got that information.
Yeah, I just think in the meantime, think about who's gonna keep these updated and who's gonna, on their time, go over and keep the kiosk full over there. You know, look toward the future too, because that's not necessarily sustainable. As we know, these were lost. They were burned. A few people had them, you know, we salvaged them together.
It would be nice
again,
if we
so-
could get it digitized. And then updating it would be so much easier. There'd be a digital copy of it somewhere, and that could always be.
Right, so someone has to digitize it. No,
Right.
We have it digital, but it's like a PDF
Yeah.
type,
It's
it's not
not
easy
editable.
to play with or edit, yeah, we had to hire a graphic person and do everything too, so.
I might be able to do that.
You could, I can email it over.
Yeah, I might be able to. I can even just scan it and then take it into, scan it as a PDF, take it into either Adobe or into Canva.
Can,
Yeah,
I looked it up.
yeah, and Canva should let me edit most of the content, if not all. There might just be some like font issues,
Yeah,
things of that nature.
yeah, that's what I did, is I did it into PDF and went into the edit to see, but it's beyond me, I guess, as far as
Yeah, I can't.
editing it, making it look
My
good.
skills as well. If you could do that, that would be awesome, because it's just Dubacher spelled wrong, and then the numbers.
Okay.
They're out of sync. There's some numbers in there that they didn't need, and so that would be it. And then what do you guys think about, you just using Google Translate to get it into Spanish?
That's one of the easiest.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Like, is there copyright or trademark
Not
things?
that I'm aware of.
No. no.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my Spanish class this summer, that's what they
I'm using.
recommended.
Okay, I'll play around with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do, I like
I have a
doing that.
And
question.
what was that called? Google
Google Translate.
Translate, yeah. I have a question regarding, you mentioned the numbering. When I first started looking at the maps and the brochure you're talking about, they still refer to the numbers, the sections. And there's names for sections. And then there's a new numbering system that has letters. You know, A, B, C, D, you know, they go through the whole thing. When you remake the brochure or update it, are you gonna continue to use the numbers, or are you going to a letter system? On your online stuff, when you look it up, it'll say like G, it'll have the letter, the row, and then the actual, you know, site
Yeah.
in each row. So there's hundreds of rows, you know, but they're all broken out into these letters. So I'm just asking, are you planning on, whenever you guys refer to it, you use the numbers. The only place I see the letter being used is on the city's website. When you do the search, it shows you location, it'll be like G, 243-5, something like that, you know.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, how does that relate to what you're putting into this brochure? Are you gonna just stick with the numbering of the sections?
Was that the new lady that had come in a couple of years ago? Was that her?
Donna?
Donna, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause we had an
I got a
intern that
map.
came in.
You guys have a copy of it?
This map right here.
How long, 2 years here? 3 years?
She still volunteers with us.
Or does she?
Yeah, that's
So she
actually.
was, that was her baby, and she was trying to go through, my understanding.
We've talked about how confusing that is
Yeah.
yet, and I've expressed that
And
it
this
should be
is
fixed,
one,
but.
but when you get in deeper, it's even worse.
Oh, I know. I noticed all this took place around 2015 or something. It looked like there was a major
They tried.
overhaul in the way they were.
Yeah, I hadn't, this is on the website? And yeah,
No,
that's-
this is actually off of our website, the museum's website. They had a bunch of the maps, and then they have all the individual sheets that correspond with each one of those letters. And they're, I wish I had a copy of that here, but it actually shows you the grave sites, but they're not literally where they're, like if you overlay them in Google Earth or something, I've done it, they don't line up. It's not I know you got another item on the agenda that's coming up that'll probably address some
Yeah, a
of
little
this,
bit of
the
it.
mapping part of it, but.
Well, there's a problem with mapping because when I asked for a printout of available plots, they gave me the sheet that my family plots are at. And if it's true, they buried my brother in the wrong place. So, yeah, but he's in the family plot, but just in the wrong plot, because we have a couple. He's supposed to be buried next to the Peccanex, and that's that plot in between, and so, which is a conversation afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's like, and that, it's interesting, because, when you go out there, you have all this open space, and it has, quite a question, unknown, and again, we've talked.
And I was asking at one time, you know, can I bury my brother with someone else? And they said, oh, sure, just as long as you let us know. And that's kind of scary.
Well, they have all that, you know, your
Because how many
options.
are gonna let you know? I
Yeah, you
mean,
can
who's
double
gonna let
dip,
them know
get
they
it
go
out,
put their
kind of
brother with their grandpa?
Back to the question.
I'm
I
sorry.
was just, if we're updating the brochure, I'm just curious, like, if they're gonna use that.
I'm a little confused. I thought that the
Yeah,
numbers
so the
associated with that
numbers.
were more for the map.
This matches what's at the kiosk,
Right, right.
so if you change this, you've gotta
No,
change
I'm
the
not
kiosk.
saying change it, I'm just
No,
asking.
so I
because-
recommend we leave it the same, because this matches the kiosk,
Correct, correct.
that's all.
Like I
Is
said,
that the one that you guys used during the garden show?
I see what you're saying.
The garden tour is the same thing, this is just,
Okay, you know, I have some on my desk at school, she left me, that's why I was
yeah,
wondering.
yeah, they're
Okay.
this exact, she made copies, gave some to you, I have the rest. And it's just the same one that Frosco made, so if anybody's best buddies with Sharon Frosco, ask her in her computer if she has an editable, but that's,
And that might be a
we're talking 25 years.
Mike's,
Because
yeah, we just saw Mike
they
today.
used to do tours to raise money for the Mule Hunt House. And I wonder if it's in any of their.
What am I supposed to get from Sharon?
Ask her if she has the original of this that's editable, and then that would save
Yeah, a lot of time.
Annie time.
I see what you're talking about. I think we'll have to discuss it in here to really find the best path forward if we do go to update that to make it easier for the whole thing. I'd definitely like to get everything lined up where you find it, no matter where you find it, it's gonna say the same thing, same way.
And I think there's gotta be like a national register or a national historic way of doing this. And we find what other, you know, how it's supposed to be done and then do it that way and then simplify by codifying and making it all the same.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I don't know which one is right.
Well,
That takes further research.
I think your numbering is right. I think that's, it's just that there's been this other use of numbering, and it's fit into the system now. So I'm just saying if you're
It
gonna-
seems like
you
they
just
did
need to
another
make it-
column.
Right, well, they
Yeah.
have a column. Unfortunately, the way they did it, they put, so like, say you've got a letter here, and it's covering two
Yeah,
numbers. So they have one record that shows multiple numbers, instead of breaking out into individual.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's not gonna be
I've had a heck of a
cross-referenceable.
time with that website.
But, like I said, I'll delve into more, that's not, I don't think that's what we're discussing here. I'm just asking about
No, that's a great
which,
question.
Well, that's
what
what
you're
we
gonna
need-
go
we
with
need
as far as
the
when
question
you
is-
publish
Yeah,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
hadn't discussed changing this at all.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I watched the videos and everybody referred to them with the numbers. I said, nobody's using this new method of anything, so,
Yeah.
except your software is using it, your SimSites is using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the secondary website off of, are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
SimSites, when you
Right.
go, as soon as you start to do a search, it launches you to another website, well, the SimSites.
Right. Okay, so, good on that though?
I'm good on it, yeah, that was all, I just wanted to know about how you felt about the numbering, and it seems like everybody's stuck there, we're sticking with these numbers. so
Should
it's-
we, or should we?
Well, no, I
Discuss
no,
changing.
but like I said,
Just
there's a
asking.
whole nother reason why the other numbers came to be, and I'm not sure anybody in this room really knows.
I think because that correlates, don't you think it would, if you were gonna change that, then everything has to be changed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas if
Like I
you
said,
leave it, we already have the stuff that's out. You know, like you say, the map, at the kiosk,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, I think till we're ready to totally revise map, leave this as is.
Yeah.
You guys okay with that?
Baby steps.
Okay. So you guys good with the cemetery brochure? We'll go ahead and go on to number 5, and just the notes I have with that is eventually we get some of those brochures out to the mining museum, visitor center, whatnot. We're gonna get the spelling corrected as well as the numbering order.
Looking for the original.
All right.
Sheridan.
So number 5 will be discussion on possible changes to the cemetery code with recommended rules by committee. Now, I don't know if Floriana can quite word it as far as changes to cemetery code. I don't think we can change that.
Where is
There
the
is not a
cemetery?
code.
Where is it?
It's just, if this is it, we're
Right.
making up
I
a
mean,
code. So
that's-
let's say formation, we're not calling it change it to cemetery code, we're saying we're making rules for the city cemetery.
Yeah.
Cemetery
B,
committee
rules and regulations.
is forming rules. We will be the rule makers.
Yes.
Do you want me to read all of it?
Well, yeah.
Anybody want me to read what's, I'll go ahead and read just the applicable.
Where? Would tell us, because
And cemetery, B, rules and regulations. Public Works Director shall be responsible for laying out the cemetery to determine the location of lots, capacity. That's not necessarily a rule. Cemetery hours will be posted at entrance gates. Unlawful for any person to be present in the cemetery during the period from sundown to sunrise. Public Works, I mean, these are the rules.
It's number 5.
Number
is the-
2 is posted at the cemetery. Number 2 is posted at the cemetery.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that one's in effect. Public Works Director may establish a list of types of vegetation that are appropriate for use in the cemetery and a list of vegetation that's prohibited. Anyone who plants any permanent trees or vegetation within the cemetery use drought tolerant shall comply with the direction provided by Public Works and ensure the care and maintenance of such plants.
I do have a question about that, because there is one plot there that has cancer trees growing all around it. And you let cancer trees get a hold of something, and they're hard to get rid of.
and the likelihood is that wasn't.
Snap a picture and send it to me and I'll go, the guys go take it
Okay.
out.
Because that's an invasive anyway.
Yeah, I'm invading everywhere here. Okay, so we have an idea more or less. The kind of rules you guys are talking about, I mean, even this. All persons must observe proper decorum during their visit to the cemetery with due respect to the sanctity of the area. Visitors must use a path and roadways are provided for access for him walking across grave sites. No person shall dispose of any rubbish, trash, or waste materials within the cemetery, except within containers for that purpose. No person shall interfere with the conduct of any funeral graveside. Yada, yada, yada. No person shall desecrate, vandalize, deface, remove, or damage any plot, grave, monument, memorial. The only thing I'm seeing in here that you guys probably would like to have that's not is no animals.
Yes.
But we do
That's-
have that
We have that.
there too.
That's
So what I think we're talking is we want to kind of do a bullet point of this, maybe add in like the one that's out there at the cemetery, and then be able to put that onto a sign so it's right there when you're walking and you know. You don't have to go into our website, go into the city code thing and go look into this, find out what the
There you
rules
go.
are.
If
Here
you
it
look
is.
at
Thank
that
you.
thing that she's gonna send Lorraine, the rules from Douglas.
Douglas?
It's numbered or bullets, but I can't remember which, and it is on their gate when you first walk in. And it
It's
says-
numbered.
Numbered, yeah, you have to be respectful, no loud
Sounds like a
talking,
combination of that and this.
no, I mean,
You
and
say,
no,
put
I
this on
forget
the
what
sign.
else. I forget what they all are, but
Yeah,
we went over
I
that on
never
the tour.
knew they had this.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, this is how you need to make sure that you walk to the edges and that we're all respectful. It's pretty short and succinct, and it's that with a few more things in it, but it's a really good collection of rules.
So, with that said, discussion possible changes. Is there anything out of that, or if there's any kind of rule that you guys are, something that sticks out that might not be, or maybe we can go ahead and I can write down what rules you guys would like to see on a sign. Something if that
It
works.
sounds like just the number 5 section and the combination of the Douglas sign, and we kind of compare and then see what's missing, and then all we gotta do is come up with a list and give it to you, and you can make this up.
See what the total is.
So, yeah, if you guys want, I can go ahead and spearhead this and I'll compile all of it and I'll then get it onto like the sign we would like to use. I'll get a proof made of that, and then I can email it to everybody, or we can do it at the next time, depending on your time frame at our next meeting. So
Put it on a headstone.
Yeah, there you go.
I saw that actually when I was doing some of my searching. Some people had rules on a headstone right at the beginning of the entrance in the cemetery before too. So if you're good with that, I will. I'll go ahead and put myself down for coming to you guys with our next meeting with the rules on possible on the sign we'd like to use. With the proof is what they call it. So Logan will bring rules and proof of sign to next meeting for approval or discussion and approval. Patience. Number 6. We all good with 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6, discussion on having a fillable application for committee member applications. So out of our Annie, Peter, how was the application? Did you do paper or electric?
I had to actually do, I did the fillable PDF. However, when you click on the
Top one.
committee that you want, it like selects, it does.
That's what the error that I found too
Yeah.
when we went. So,
That was the only issue that I had.
okay, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. So I ended up downloading the PDF and then I filled it out on my computer and then I emailed it. So I didn't have to print it or anything. So that worked out pretty good. But trying to fill it out online wasn't, like Andy said, I said, I can't.
You don't want that many committees.
Right. So, but once you got the fillable form down, then you could work with it. It wasn't bad at all.
Okay, I will plan on, I'll get that form corrected.
I think it's just that first section.
Yeah, where you
The
select
other
one and then
checkboxes
select
work,
all
it's
of them.
just the top one.
Yep, the first one hits all of them,
I
and then
think
all the ones
that's on the
associated,
one.
if you click on
I
those.
think that was done on purpose,
Determined.
to try to get you to, even though it says use an application for each committee you want to be.
Yeah, they want you on all of
They
them.
want them all, come on.
Believe you like it.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so,
Just a few more tweaks.
concludes 6, we'll get that all corrected, and on to new business. So, welcome new members.
Thank you.
I feel welcome.
Do you guys want to do a little bit of introduction, or is
Well,
everybody
maybe
good?
for
It's up-
your guys' benefit, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, tell us why you wanted to
If you
join.
guys
Yeah.
want them to be, yeah.
Yeah,
Go, Pete.
I'll try to be brief, but I started volunteering at the museum in the research library and started getting research requests and immediately started looking into the cemetery records. And that's when I went, I can't make heads or tails. I can't figure out how to find anything. So I started, trying to see what was available. I used their web stuff. They have a bunch of stuff on the museum website. That's where these maps came from. And then I realized that the city has upgraded to the SIM sites, and I used that, and I said, oh, that's pretty cool. You can actually put in the name, put in dates, and gives you a little map and everything. And I thought, well, how are they doing that? Those little pins, they must have an XY coordinate of some sort to be able to know where to place them. So I'm like, why didn't they? Anyways, let's get into the behind the scenes of what's going on. But I really could not figure out how to find, because of this numbering scheme, because the cities, like I said, it shows the location as G, 200 and something, and then, so I was like, well, that doesn't correspond to what we have with the numbering or even the naming of sections, the baby section, the Catholic section, they correspond with their numbering pretty much, but then there'd be a couple of sections in one, so nothing is exactly overlaid very well. And when I did try to go out and locate, just like you guys were saying, it wasn't exactly, I'm looking all, I'm like, it's gotta be around here somewhere, you know, because it says it's over here, but I can't find it.
Yeah.
It was really hard, so I said, well, that's when I started talking to Annie about the cemetery, because I said, I'm having trouble locating these graves. I want to go out and take pictures of headstones, do all that kind of stuff. And when I did go out there, and I started noticing the condition, and I was like, boy, you know, this is, I found out your mom died and Snooty died, and I said, there's nobody on the committee. You know, there's people are missing from the committee that probably shouldn't be there. And discussing with Annie a little bit too, I said, I think I'm going to focus on the cemetery and see if I can help, you know, coordinate the museum's database and your database, because they're off whack right now. They don't match, and there's sections that are missing. We don't have stuff that you guys have updated. So I said, that's why I need to get on here, and that's my primary focus. I don't know anybody buried there. I don't have any family there, you know, or anything like that. So I don't have that kind of an interest in it. But it's more about management and, you know, getting organized. That's all.
We need you doing that, because just some of the history, there was a cemetery on, I think it was up OK Street or what, and the flood, the graves, they started
They
popping
moved
out.
the cemetery.
So they moved them,
Yeah.
and that really,
I'm really fascinated to find out about what your
Exactly.
records are right now,
That's
and
what-
how Lorena's dealing with it when people come in and order stuff, you know, and then this upgrade to your mapping. I'm really kind of curious to find out what you got.
Well, you came in at a good time.
Oh, I know,
We've been
I know.
kind of running on fumes for funding, but we're actually gonna be able to probably do some of the things we'd like to with the later agenda, so.
Yeah. So I have a background in mapping. I was a GIS coordinator for Water
Oh,
District
yeah.
in California for 20 years, and then I ended up being their engineering project coordinator. I started doing plan checking and stuff for new development, all that, to make sure that everything's conforming in the digital world too. So it was I retired from that.
I can see your interest in how that whole thing is shaken down. And like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, mapping, you know,
it's good.
I'm a mapper.
Welcome, man. I'm glad you're joining the committee.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Jane, do you wanna?
I grew up just loving Evergreen Cemetery. My father would take me for walks there, and he would tell me, this is Harrison Lavender, let me tell you about Harrison Lavender. This is so-and-so, let me tell you about this person. And I really attribute the cemetery as being one of the seeds that were planted that really set me on the path that I'm on today. And I do have quite a few family members there, and to me it's a very special place, not only because of who's buried there, but because of the lives that those individuals led. And I thought that maybe I could help preserve and help communicate preserve the site and help communicate the stories behind the residents of the cemetery.
And that's what they are, residents of
That's
the
right.
cemetery. And you have to keep that in mind. And we're glad to have you
Absolutely.
help us with that.
I hope to wrangle Pete at the museum with this.
No, I'm not the rainbow boat. It's just, you fired me up
Oh,
again.
that's good.
Good. Glad you're
Thank
here.
you.
Okay, so you guys we're all introduced officially. Go to number 2, what I'm looking forward to, discussion on money received from Bisbee Foundation. Now, this isn't actually received money, it's money that we've been sitting on with interest building for a while. So it's been available to us. And John Charlie showed up to see Pockin, and then I was like, hey, we have this money available. If the cemetery has anything that they want to do, all they need to do is put it down in a proposal, tell us, and we'll write a check. So,
What's a ground center cost?
I've been looking it up. It's
About 20 grand.
yeah, spending.
So that money, like you just described, write something up and then, you know, is it allocated, it can be allocated for anything on approval? I mean, if like could be allocated for maintenance, you know, something that needs doing, like the tree trimming thing.
Yep.
Is that kind of thing, I know
It's
it.
that, if it's for Evergreen, then you can use it for, I mean, I don't, my impression from John Charlie is I don't think he's going to, if you guys, you know, wanted a sewing machine out there or something, maybe not.
Multiple things.
Yes, absolutely. One thing he talked about was a columbarium. He said that the folks that did the Premier Lines gardening out there, they do some really amazing rockscape, and I guess a while ago they had discussion with, the way they had seen it was doing a beautiful landscape, like rock desert columbarium, where people could walk up and it would be like, you know, into the rock where they could pull out the columbarium. So it's almost like natural, the rock and landscaping with the names into it. Does that make sense? He kind of described it to me, but that was one thing they talked about, and he had the company that does concept drawings or something too. I guess he said he could provide us with. I let him know some of the things that you guys have talked to us about, like the tree trimming that's going on, some of the bad holes of dirt or holes that are going on through there. Just regular, you know, curves, all kinds of little things, getting things painted along those lines. So we've got 61,000. We've got a full committee here with, I think, some really passionate and knowledgeable people. So let's figure out what we're going to do with some of it. We don't have to spend it all at once.
Yeah.
Well, and that's an idea I'd like to throw out. You know, we all need to take, I think we need to take a walk. Why don't we take our own tour? Us. You know, the only time I've walked through the cemetery was at, you know, when we were gonna do the other thing, I'm sorry, I forgot what it was called, Pioneer Walk. We've just got to do that. As, I think, together, so that we can hear each other as we see what we are concerned about with, you know, our ancestors. The hard part is getting us all together.
Coordinating there, and during sunrise too, or before sunset, I should say. What's that?
What was the cheapest translation?
I've just only seen estimates online. I haven't requested any quotes or anything.
Maybe we could try to deal with other questions.
I
I don't know.
It'd be a while.
Yeah.
We've got a budget for that.
Can I ask some questions just for, like, I don't know, so I'm trying to find out if I'm ignorant to it. But you're Public Works, right? Right?
One of them.
Yeah, you're representing Public Works, and even in the code, it talks about your maintenance. You know, you're supposed to be doing all this stuff, you know, and I see that you are. I know that the circumstances here are a little different budget-wise and everything, but part of the deal of doing regular maintenance is you keep track, and then next year you can, you know, you say, well, you're gonna need this much money because look at the work orders we had from last year where we had to do all this, you know, maintenance stuff. So I'm just wondering, do you have any kind of work order system in place to where when you say snap a picture and let me know, you know, that it actually gets documented that we're doing a work order request, we're asking you to do something, you know, specific, and then you'll have to budget, you know, for that, you know, when you go to get funds to do it and stuff like that. So it's a better, I'm just talking about a tracking system. I know I've looked at the portal, the transparency portal, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but I've searched on cemetery, and I will get listings of things that are attributed to the cemetery, and I see all these different, you know, things going in, going out, but I don't really see a system to where you could say, you know, last year, you know, we had, you know, $4,000 worth of these types of work orders. We had, you know, we spent this much money on, you know what I'm getting at? Do you guys have to come up with a budget every year for your maintenance?
Yeah,
You know?
we use iWorks, which
iWorks?
is an iWorks system. So somebody calls me, I generate a work order. It has the capability of tracking where we purchase our materials from for it,
All right.
how long the job took, how many hours were on the job. I put pictures into it if
Excellent.
there's something or whatnot. One of the things we've been lacking is building maintenance,
Yes. Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
our streets and infrastructure crew does
Yeah.
all the building maintenance. We just got approved this year for a building maintenance person. And we still haven't gotten to transition them into that, but they're going to be, just like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, Matt and I we've got a few hats. And
Wow.
I'm very familiar. I have, to give you guys background, I spent 15 years in oil and gas in Alaska in the Arctic oil field. I understand what you're talking about with management.
Yeah,
You can't improve what you don't measure.
Right, you have to
5
measure, you
minutes
have to
of
have a
planning
matrix.
is 30 minutes of execution.
Right.
Right, but right now, with the way things, it's like I said, we got some money here. We do have those work orders, and we track all that stuff, but I mean, we just haven't had a lot of, I mean, for example, I've known about the Luke oil field, speaking out of turn, the quote for 6,500, I got that over a year and a half ago. We just didn't have the
Yeah.
funds to
Get
pull
into
it out anywhere,
Right.
without taking it from somewhere that hasn't been allocated to it at that point, so. But, yes, if anything, yeah, go ahead.
I have a question, so we're talking money, I suppose this would be on topic. Is there any way, like, before budgeting comes up in February, March, whatever it is, that we can have a discussion like this, and I know I don't ever know, have a discussion like this, and put out their suggestions to raise the budget? Not that they would ever get it, but I mean, there's a possibility, you
Absolutely.
never know. And that's something that hasn't been done forever.
It's always been 5,000, right?
Right, it's always
And
just
that's
been
it.
said, because no one's ever asked. But now that there's all these ideas coming out, I mean, maybe that's something that, in the back of everyone's head.
That's a good segue, because Peter, we've only had that iWorks platform for 2 years at this point. They'd just been using it for like a year or so before I had started, but that's the kind of, I mean, every time my guys, I'm like, if you do something, put it in the work order, okay? You can't improve what you don't measure,
Right.
and I need to be able to go to city manager and say, this is what's going on, I need more help or money to be able to take care of this the way it needs to be. So, yeah, it's a long game at this point.
I'm with you, that's what I'm trying to, like, get this to where we can actually organize it and get some, reason behind why we need the money, stuff like that. It may be a little easier, I don't know, there's somebody trying to get you to make a cake, they don't give you any ingredients.
You absolutely right though, man. I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean,
So-
people can't argue. You got anecdotal and then you got numbers.
Right.
Like,
If
we
you
did
can prove,
you know.
yeah, this is what we've been, this is what it takes, this is what it takes.
Yeah,
So that's awesome.
yeah.
It
So
works.
we're heading there. So discussion on money received. Any other? This is kind of open as far as this discussion goes because we're talking about the cemetery in 61 and what we want to do with it. So.
I have a question then, since we're talking about the 61. Is it with action to like vote on tonight, to even get it started? And you might get vote on starting with trees.
I put in the things that you guys had spoken to me about before. Yes, we can vote. I made sure she put possible approval so we could vote on those. If those are some of the things you would like me to approach John about getting taken care of first. So, but yeah, did that answer?
Yeah.
Can I make one more comment? I don't want to
Yeah,
take
man.
everybody's too much time, but the whole money spending and what you're gonna spend it on, it's kind of like everybody might have a different vision of, where money should be allocated. Like, I want something brand new, or I want to fix something old that needs repair. So that kind of thing, maybe we just need to prioritize, like you said, where we want to spend it. We come up with a list of, in priority, so we go, this one first, this one, it sounds like that's all that's required here is just a little bit more, putting it down an actual agenda of some sort, some sort of, organized.
Because we're just hearing about the money, and we've already got two things that, we're gonna be wanting to spend 10,500, that was brand spanking new.
So how long have you had this one?
They've had it. He said it's been there for a while. I don't recall the exact time.
Is this the RIP fund?
Bisbee Foundation?
Yeah, RIP.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Foundation.
Yeah, that's not.
If you look in the accounting stuff, you'll find or look in the code, you'll find all kinds of information about how we came to where we are. It's weird.
Yeah, that's a true story.
If I may, I thought Linda, you had a great idea regarding either individually or collectively, all of us walking the
Yeah,
cemetery.
yeah.
You
Looking
really
at-
need to get in, down and dirty with that cemetery to see it.
Because I mean, it would be nice to have some, you know, some really nice fancy things, but if we need basic concrete work to help support the overall structure of the
Infrastructure.
cemetery, yeah.
I mean, we've got, people have done their own thing around their graves and then the family's gone and it's just, you know, it's, unfortunately, it's up to us.
To an extent.
Old graves, there's a lot of those that do.
You know, nobody's left. And so we've gotta take care of those.
There's, I know, because I remember you talking about this in previous meetings, and even the holes that are on people's graves, only reason I haven't had them go ahead and get some dirt out there to take care of that is because I need to talk with our attorney. There's different types of cemeteries or whatnot as far as when you're signing up or whatnot. So basically it'd be like if I showed up at your house and just
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to fill
yeah,
in your
it's
hole.
like they're live.
That's what I need to make sure that
Yeah.
we wouldn't be doing that to an extent, because people buy the plot, they're buying a piece of land.
Right.
Some cemeteries, the maintenance like that is exclusive, right? It's included because the cost is a little bit more.
That's how
Perpetual
regardless
care.
is.
Yeah.
Listen, we are not a perpetual care cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are asking me to take care of old people's stuff that I can't touch. My understanding, I'm still gonna talk to the attorney and ask if we can fill holes, remove hazards, even though we shouldn't be walking on graves.
And that's a good point, because the thing I keep bringing up is we need to have a community work day at the cemetery and have piles of dirt and let them fill in holes and, you know, get rid of prick repair and just, you know, a basic cleanup. But I keep harping about it, but we have to have a waiver, you know.
Yeah.
No, you know what, in
They-
the Parks and Recreation Committee, they have volunteer forms online that you get, you can it waives all the, they have them clean up parks, you can volunteer to adopt a park, adopt a tree. I've already seen it for the Parks and Rec stuff, so I'm like, a little bit of tweaking, we could turn that into a cemetery.
And that's what we've got, you know, that's what they've been telling me, is that we, you know, that's kind of the thing that's been holding back from us having people come and help us.
People signed those waivers for the court.
Yeah,
So.
they did? Okay,
I
see,
think
and that
we
was
could
my
do it.
next
I
thing.
think,
is
get
did
it
you
on
have-
agenda items,
Yeah.
stick to
Yeah.
Did you have them
Yeah,
sign
no,
the
that keeps-
waivers?
Oh,
They
that-
separated, yeah, they did.
Okay.
There's some of the old, like we were just talking about the old forms around the graves, like some of those from, you know, the 1920s, but obviously they don't have people, you know? I mean,
And that's what I
and
said,
that,
the
those have
families
been
are gone.
broken either from vandalism, wear and tear, who knows
And
what
that
else.
beautiful old wrought iron, do you
Right.
let it rust and corrode, or do you go ahead and spray it with black? I mean, you know, what can we do, but we've gotta do
Within
something.
the legal.
Yeah, we gotta go
Within
section
the
by
legal realm.
section
Right.
and document
Section by
what needs to be
section, that's a
done,
good
and then
idea.
get it to them.
So we could have a cleanup day and say,
Yeah,
you
work
know,
orders
this
for it.
section. But that's another thing to bring up, is that we've got the Mason section, we've got the Catholic section,
Yeah.
we've got the Serbian section.
Contact
The
them.
Serbians take wonderful care of
Mhm.
their plots. We need to get a hold of these Masons and Elks and people and say, you know, step up. You need to whitewash your mausoleum thing you've
Yeah,
got there.
That's the mausoleum though is the,
I didn't mean
oh, I
mausoleum.
know, it's like,
It's
that's part of
just
it,
like
yeah.
this,
But there's no, the unfortunate thing is you have a handful of Masons, so that wouldn't be a difficult thing. There are no Elks left in Bisbee.
well, I'm making that.
No, because that's one of them, it's like the moose, I mean,
Right.
but there are some, like you said, in the Masonic Temple, there's a small faction of those.
And we as a committee, should we send them a letter,
We could, I suppose.
you know, and say, you know, just wondering when you're gonna maintain your grave sites.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I don't know if they've signed anything saying that they would take care of their area, but why would they get one if
Well, at least you could, yeah, ask
they're
them.
gonna take care of it?
Wouldn't hurt to ask,
just gotta
right?
put a body somewhere.
They might be like thrilled to come in.
We're still off topic, but my idea was like, the people who run Letson Loft, ask them, hey, can you take care of the Letson family graves?
Right.
You know, the businesses that make money in Old Bisbee,
Mhm.
you know, the Angus House, or this, or I live in this house, or this historic places, they could step up and say, well, look, it's just this grave with this family members, can you come and on this day,
Weed whack.
Memorial Day or Day of the Dead, and, you know, but the city could be there with, like she said, dirt, tools. I'm envisioning like dig a big hole for people to put all the yard waste in, for, you know, that improves the soil. But, that digresses from here, you guys. We should make a
Well,
committee
That's
to
all.
really
About
do
spending some
it,
money.
because we just talk
Yeah,
and then we don't do it. That's a lot of work and a lot of an organization, so.
Well, let's think about what all be involved with everything you guys are talking about. That's a lot of communication. Additionally, you know, people might want to do the maintenance, but they might not be in a position where they can do that maintenance either necessarily. So maybe
Don't need a rate.
we could organize something and set some money aside for spray paint and other things on that day, and we'd like reach out to these folks, be like, hey, we're gonna have stuff available for people to do maintenance or something. That's just off the top of my head, one way it might make that to come to fruition a
Or
little
baby
easier.
steps, break it into sections
I
like
was
you
gonna
mentioned.
say,
It's very overwhelming,
Yeah.
but if you break it up into sections.
Just focus on a section,
Maybe we
go in there,
I'm
identify
just
everything
throwing
that needs
it
to be
out
done.
here because we have a new
Yeah, start
blood in,
with
and I love this so much, I want them to know too, you know, that it's out there, we just have to get it together. And
Yeah.
Because back to the 61,000, in my mind, I see road grading put in for the new section, like where are people supposed to drive,
Yeah,
where are
just
people supposed to
curb.
park, the old roads, you know, recurbing.
Old roads
Just
need to
because
be
people
widened.
can't see, and I'm guilty of it, and I'm like, oh my God, I just drove over the corner of a grave because of that curb, you know, just,
And the roads on the high up, like on C Street, up there, because of the runoff, they've got like a 2-foot chunk in the road, so you gotta straddle it
yeah,
without
there's a
taking
huge
out the
divot.
bottom of your
And in
car.
my mind, it's just like, okay, let's harvest all this water and save it. This water could be to water trees.
well, what about our big old?
We have them, but I'm waiting for it.
They don't have water in
Yeah,
them.
they have one, right?
Oh, they
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I rolled them, because it was monsoon. Why
Yeah.
waste it?
so nobody's come up and
Why
taken
waste it? It's
showers?
been oh, no, it's locked. They're locked.
Oh, okay.
No, the hoses are locked up.
And one other idea, and I'll never do it again, but I think we need to be able to somehow have some kind of an advertising thing or something going where someone can donate and buy a bench. You know,
We talked about.
so you
trees.
could have benches through, you know, in each section and in memory of somebody. And then the family can donate a bench, and if we find somebody that makes patio furniture.
Well, we had talked about having a website with things to buy, I mean, a while back, in the beginning. I think we were here, we talked about the before you're not. So we talked about sponsoring trees and that kind of falls right in there.
That's right.
You know, sponsoring a bench, this is the,
You know,
the
we've got to
Smith
get
family
somebody
bench.
else's money coming in.
Right, and they can designate where they want to put the bench and. I mean,
Exactly.
because you see that throughout the big
So that's
cemeteries
just something for
everywhere
y'all
else,
to
you know,
do.
where families have done that. I mean, Carolyn has a really nice, that's her sister. Yeah, her bench, yeah, it's really nice.
And then if I don't get buried there, I'll say Carolyn Harris sat here.
But no, you know, that's another thing we've talked about in the past, but again, the baby steps, it's getting there to have the online, the ability to purchase.
And now we've got a little bit of moolah, we've got to be able to
Yeah.
get it where you can see it.
Yeah, so is there any other, and this is discussion on money received, so it is kind of open. If there's any other
Yeah, no,
peanut
that's my
gallery
biggest
before we
thing is-
move on.
Roads, and stuff that, it's just huge, the whole east side of the cemetery is just washing out into the street.
Yeah, especially down that last gate, and it's gotten out on the road, and it's causing a hazard, because someone will slid into me when I was closing the gates.
Or, you know, cars will kick up rocks and make a wreck.
See, this
Complain
kinda-
about that.
Like if we wanted to pave and curbing would be more expensive. With asphalt material, we have the guys and the equipment, so it's actually not that expensive. You're talking $120 a ton for asphalt right now, which is spendy. It used to be $80, but it's not leaving that. And then 20. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that, but I don't think you're talking more than a couple thousand material maybe. to do that whole thing, and even we could even do I-rail curbs to keep the drainage going down the right way if cement curbs are too much right now or something. So, but that's the kind of thing that, if you guys feel super strong about something, that next meeting or something, you put that into the agenda for discussion or approval, towards that money, and we can all talk about it at that point there.
Could you have John Charlie give you that design that you were talking about for columbariums?
Yes,
Because that, it's like a desert design, and which would almost work in with that back mountain like
Yeah,
we
that's
had
what I,
discussed before.
That's the spot.
exactly
Yeah.
Are you guys leaning towards more like, sustaining landscape, like desert tolerant, drought
I
tolerant?
want, that's what I want
Yeah,
to
or
landscape it
you-
with, no irrigation,
Yeah, or
only
you
native.
envision
And that's why we
green
need to,
grass.
no green grass, we need to harvest the water.
Yeah.
So where that water comes, it can make those plants get big and
Correct.
shady faster than it would naturally.
Yeah, because we have water tanks up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard, and then you're storing to water trees and stuff like that.
Eventually,
Yeah, what is is there water in the cemetery? There's no water service?
It
There's no,
used to be
is there sewer
provided by
service?
the mines, and the mines got.
No sewer service,
No.
just garbage?
Close by.
Yeah.
Sure, not in there, no.
Which is another thing, you say that, that was something that has come up and has been a complaint. There is no sewer there. And
That's the nearest
some cemeteries that I've been to around the world have, I don't know if they're compostable or they're just,
That's a big thing now.
yeah, they're like, and it's like you don't have to be serviced, they don't smell funky. Yeah, but,
There's still
Well, that's-
more maintenance, I don't wanna.
I was trying to get an
have
idea of
that.
everybody's vision of the cemetery, like, do you see it going, classic lush vegetation area? Or are we trying to transfer a little bit over
Clean.
to something more
It's
sustainable? Yeah. I mean, if you look at parks in Phoenix and stuff where they've got, Palo Verdes and, it's really nice. You can have really nice landscaping without having, just drip and stuff like that. It's easy.
You know what, I'll go ahead and bring it up. Have you guys ever heard of Brad Lancaster in the Dunbar neighborhood in Tucson? So you should look that up. She illegally, 25 years ago,
Oh,
cut a
this guy,
curb.
the water guy.
Yeah, water guy.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So 25 years, one of the citizens in Warren had contacted me and they would like us to start trying to use his
Right,
practices. But well, you can imagine he illegally cut a curb
Yeah, like
and he made a
water.
big catch basin because Tucson receives more water than they use every year.
Yeah.
So he made a catch basin, and it's really cool because you look at that neighborhood 20 years ago, and it's just houses and streets,
Dirt,
and then
yeah.
you go over the next 25 years later,
Lush.
just
Lush.
walkways, paths, and these catch basins. You dig down, it catches the water. You put native species and plants in there. You never have to water it. It's
I've heard of that, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I thought that could be in this 61,000,
Yeah.
because it's gonna cost a lot of folks to to make that plan and do it right. That's an
There's
initial
some
cost right
civil
there.
engineering involved. That's
I
all.
want good
Yeah.
engineers to
Yeah.
really design it so
Yeah.
to last forever.
you know, we couldn't find one to donate.
Yeah.
Well, there's actually the citizen that contacted me. She's taking classes, and she's done a similar operation in her own backyard. She did it a year ago, and she's already seen great results. And so she was like, "Hey, we have so much runoff and issues in Warren there. I think this could be."
Yeah, that's what I want to do with the cemetery.
Yes, I think it would be. I mean, it's almost
What's
got
her
the right
name?
angle.
It's on a nice gentle slope, the whole thing slopes down towards
Yeah.
it. I've already looked at the, run elevations across it and stuff to
We
see.
get somebody like
Terrace it.
that to figure out where to put the column.
Yeah, see.
My first thought, because that would be a huge undertaking for the whole place.
Yes, yes,
Like
yes.
with the citizen I'm talking about, what I told her is let's find an area where we can do it, pick it, and show it to people as an example of what the possibilities. You can tell people about something, but unless you see it and
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's been working,
Mhm.
it goes a lot farther.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Like a showcase.
All right, well, it sounds like that. I just wanted to see if we were all on the same page when it came to
Yes.
this.
Well, there's no way you
Do
can
that kind of
afford
thing.
to keep it green and
Right,
lush
right.
like any cemetery that you see, because one, we don't have the water.
Right.
Two, it's expensive as all get out, and three, all the pipes have been ripped up almost. The major
I
pipes.
didn't know they'd been like that.
Oh, yeah, they've had to be removed. Well, and that wasn't necessarily the city, that was like vandalism too.
Yeah.
Because my mother had complained about that, because there were all kinds of pipes that were hazardous. and they finally did go in and take a lot of that out. The main line is still there, it's just been cut off. But just to have service to the cemetery is, what was it, $300? Or, it was an ungodly $200.
Yeah, well, new service is $2,000.
Yeah, but I mean just monthly.
Oh, monthly?
Yeah, it's because it's the big pipe, remember?
Yeah,
Oh.
It's that
large.
different, it's something like $200 because of the size of the pipe.
Right.
Commercial?
Size
Yeah,
of the
things
meter.
like that, yeah.
Everything goes in.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have people come talk with us, like this, you're a citizen,
Right.
that is trying that, you know, give us some input,
Yeah.
you
Well-
know, as a committee.
Maybe she could come bring pictures.
I could reach out to her, yeah, let you guys know that you're interested in that whole water case, and honestly,
Send a
that might be
link on-
beneficial with the cemetery being our first place to see how it works down in Bisbee.
There's, I'm sure, aren't there links? Can't you look it up? Can we send that to the whole committee?
Oh,
Tucson neighborhood?
There's a-
I absolutely, I can forward you
There's
guys the links
actually-
that I received if you'd like that.
Please
You wanna
do,
check it out? It's
'cause
like
I-
a 30-minute video and a 10, 15
Yeah, I was
minute
gonna say,
video.
like Arizona Illustrated, one of those shows, put that show on about this guy, I watched it a couple of times, it's really, write his name, what's his name?
Brett Lancaster.
Okay, that's, if you write that down
I
and
got
search
it.
out, you'll find the show.
And I will go ahead and email you guys the link, the ones that I watched, so we see the same thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Beat down.
Anybody else got any more ideas or
Well,
anything?
with that would
before we
be
go
the
on?
picnic table with a shade thing in case of hailstorm and someone's trapped out there. You know, a shelter, what kind of a
Gazebo,
place?
yeah.
And then, and I agree with Joni, composting toilet. To make that, you know, it could be a demonstration for the rest of the city.
And it doesn't have to be in the
For
middle
all
of
the
the
other parts that
cemetery.
don't have toilets.
Yeah, well, most of the cemeteries I've been to, like I just went to, we went to in Hawaii, they have bathrooms
No,
there.
no, that, I agree with you.
Oh,
They do.
no, I know,
That's a
I'm just saying.
normal thing.
Oh, okay.
People have bodily functions.
Right.
You want to visit, and what are you gonna do if you're visiting from out of town and you don't live across the street?
I'm old and
That's a
whatnot.
very.
You don't want to get a ticket for indecent exposure.
And the school
Because
doesn't.
that's on the rules of the
That's another
cemetery
rule right
committee.
there, no loose, anything.
Sorry, he's laughing. We went to the carnival this last weekend, and my son was at the Sierra Vista Park, and I was like, just let me on that tree, and sure enough, here comes a cop. I'm like, hey, cop right there. The tree's 4-year-old, but still, we don't know if that guy's having a bad day, so. Hurry up.
Not the backyard.
Yeah. All right, I digress. So, number 3, you guys move going on.
Yeah.
All right. Discussion and possible approval to remove dead Italian cypress, dead tops on Italian cypress, and dead tops on small cedar trees planted with Luke Oakfield.
I have a question, when he talks about removing the trees, does he mean the trunks?
Just any dead ones in when cypress, yeah, just
When they die, they're dead.
Well, no, we have trunks there that we need to get out, so we can put new trees, stumps.
Right.
Yeah, the stumps, not trunks, stumps.
Luke doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, I can ask him. Generally, he just cuts it down right there. I've got a lot of stumps around town. People would love to be removed.
We had
So
to have him
trying to
remove ours.
get.
Yeah, there's nothing that mentions stump on here.
Well, that's what I was just asking.
Yeah, he just does trees
Okay.
generally. I mean,
And
we
if we just
did
go
have
for a
them
walk
removed.
by ourselves and we see one that's, you know, needs it, should we just tie a ribbon around it? I mean.
Oh, he already did, he already went.
He did the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So this was done in 2022, or
Yeah.
22, and I thought he just wasn't doing his job and it was already approved. But we didn't know about it because there hadn't been money, and that's the only reason it's.
I didn't
talked
have
about
money.
now.
There wasn't any. That's why I
But
didn't
at
bring
the
it forward.
beginning, he donated his time.
Yeah, he did.
He did,
This
yeah.
time he did it, he didn't charge us.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
any other discussion?
So since this proposal was submitted almost a year ago, is the price still the same?
I asked Luke. I emailed him, and he never responded to me. But I'm pretty sure it won't be a problem. Knowing Luke, I think he'll be. Yeah, work. It's removing trees, you know. I don't know why his quote would change myself, but yeah, it could easily.
If it does change, we would have to approve it at the next
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let him know
You
that
would put it
too.
on the
Yeah.
I'll be
agenda.
like, if you change your price, then I'm gonna have to wait and go back and
Might be
get approval
another 2
again,
years,
so.
he won't do it.
Otherwise, they're ready to go.
Unless you drop the price, then we still have approval and we will still go
Yeah,
for
right,
it.
then we're on it now, yeah, today.
It's my friend Spam.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
We're busy.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Any more, I'm sorry, you're under the chair, right?
Oh, well, I was letting him just do it.
Okay, any more
This is
discussion?
last
I want to go in here.
You gonna be ready next time? Get
Don't put me to
your
work.
gavel going.
There you go.
I move that we approve $6,500 to Oldfield Bisbee Construction for the removal of trees at the cemetery.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed?
Opposed, nay.
Pardon?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Alright. Makes me happy, I don't like seeing those dead trees in there either.
I was looking on the other day.
Yeah. Alright, this is already good up.
Is there something?
All right,
else?
so
Shall I say
we can
when
go-
it's done? I'm gonna read my.
Linda, do you want me to keep going or do you want to
Please.
take over your new
No,
role?
you know, this is a learning experience.
Okay. I'm still learning every time too, so you know. That's how I feel. So number 4, discussion and possible approval to purchase mapping grave level from Sim Sites 4000. So, like what you said, Peter, this is basically the upgrade to get us that exact,
right, right,
get us right where we would be able to find hypothetically anybody by just putting it in. So that
Correct.
this company would be, they already work for us. Dawn Beeks, that I saw her
yeah,
name
yeah,
on.
this map is on.
That's,
down
yeah, I
here.
just met her
Yeah.
last week.
Is she still there?
She lives in Vegas, Las
Oh.
Vegas, but she still volunteers. Lorena works with her on a
Okay,
regular
cool,
basis. When we can't find something, she's a pro at it.
Oh, good.
So, but she wanted us, I told her we had this money available and she's like, I have a quote, this will change everything. If we could upgrade for
Are
this.
you familiar with the modules that she's talking about?
I'm not,
So I
no.
can't ask you then.
At this point, can I ask you
Mhm.
to get into contact with her?
Yeah, I will, yeah, that sounds like, it would be something I would
I'd
like
like
to
to
do.
appoint you to check that out.
The chairperson just appointed me, did you hear that? Yes.
Special.
Special.
My first
So,
task.
it's Lorena that I'm gonna,
Lorena can put you in touch with Dawn.
all right.
I mean, might even if you guys want to.
Well, I talked to her first and then see what's going on. I would love to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I've done some conversions, from paper to digital in my past life, so I'm just curious, like, when you talk about do you have as-bills of, like, your sewer system and stuff? Or
Some of
as-bills, do you
them,
have any as-bills?
unfortunately, we had a fire in 2017
Yeah, I
where our
know,
city
like,
hall
how
down.
much was lost in that fire?
A lot.
Everything,
Matt and I have, when we have time, we've had boxes of maps. We go up through the ones that are still good.
Yeah.
If they're old, we chuck them. If they're still good, we contact the company and ask them if they have any digital still.
Mhm.
And ones that don't have anything, we're gonna be getting scanned. We budgeted this year for a plotter scanner.
All right.
So once the new city hall, we'll be able to scan our own plans and everything, keep all that.
Making use of that.
It's coming from my background to this one. It's been
It's an adjustment.
there's some jumps. Yeah, it's a little different
Yeah.
for sure. There's just plus there's always been so many cooks in the kitchen.
Yes, yeah.
We were talking.
Like, that's what I meant when I said nobody here, because nobody was here really involved in it in 2015. You maybe,
Yeah.
Jillian, probably the closest person to the whole thing, but there's been a lot of changes.
Changeover.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly the main issue.
Well, I will follow up on that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, so with that said, is that what we're gonna go ahead and say? Is you wanna get some more information, detail from Don to?
I personally, and this is just me, and I don't know, we're talking about it, so I'm not saying one way or the other, but I look at it like you've already made quite an investment in this system. And this is an addition, if it brings more function to the system and it's operating for you well now, that's a good thing. I would encourage, to go ahead and upgrade it. The only thing I was concerned about was their actual process of doing so. they don't, I'm looking through their I can't get a lot of information off their website. It's, contact us and we'll sell you something,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, but I don't know how they're proposing to actually do the collection of the GPS stuff. Are they talking physically out there going?
Didn't she? When Dawn was here, if I remember correctly, I thought that's where all the updated, I thought she did that. I could be wrong, don't hold me to that.
Yeah, that's right.
But somewhere, God, I could have sworn somebody told me that, they went out and they did the new coordinates. I don't know. Jill.
I don't know either. I know what it takes to do that generally. You're
Yeah.
talking like actually coordinating a spot.
Yeah, getting a GPS coordinate
Yeah.
for
Like
each
survey
grade and then
almost.
assigning it to the
Yeah,
record.
technically, and that's,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of them have that, yes,
Yeah.
already.
So I don't know, I can't tell looking at their literature or anything, they don't talk in GIS terms, they don't talk in, it's some sort of mapping, but they're not really, it's a different level of mapping, not the kind that I'm used to, ESRI, doing ArcGIS, stuff like that. It's their own thing, they even say they
Yeah,
create
yeah.
it in their own, in their office.
Right. I
It's-
don't even know if it's a shape file kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like I don't want to mix things up, but we were talking about the sewer and the acoustic stuff. I heard the guy say he would offer you a shape file, and I thought to myself, well, who would you put it? Do you have
We use
GIS?
the county's GIS.
Okay.
And they have it set up so that you can go in and they have a portal. So I can create my own GIS
Okay.
foundations and use a lot of the stuff that they have, address, parse, all the information that's available. So
All right. So you're coordinating with the county GIS?
yes, to an extent, we've been, and we've talked about getting our own platform just so that it's not something that can ever be
Yeah.
us, to start making our own maintenance overlay type
Right.
program.
Well, this
too.
is all web-based, so it's cloud served, and it doesn't sound like you'll be able to. You should ask, is there a deliverable that, we could get a layer of information, once you create it?
Yeah.
Keep it up there where, they're maintaining it and it's safe and you don't have to worry about backups and stuff like that. But it'd be, if you're planning ahead and you're thinking, we're gonna start creating layers of information we can utilize for CMMS or, your planning projects or anything, just creating this. I know at one point the city was interested in doing GIS, but it was back in the 2010, 2011, 2008, 2009. They were talking about their CIP, their big plans for the future, and GIS was one of the things they were planning on, but I don't think it ever got off the ground, to be honest. That's why I was like, I don't wonder what they got. What does the city actually have
So
now?
maybe you can find out from,
Well, I will once I talk to Lorena. She sounds like she will know everything. She'll answer all my questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
The only reason, because this thing is about find a grade, this walk to grade. That's one of the features, is you get this additional mapping process, and you should be able to walk to the grave, right? You put it in and
Yeah, it
it's
should be able
it's
to
on your
fill
phone.
it on your
Yeah.
phone, turn
So I'm
right.
like, well, they need to, they're gonna have to
24
capture.
feet, turn left.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing off aerial, they also have a drone service, but I get the impression it's not for mapping, it's just for taking nice videos of flying over your, so you can, click on it and see, and then, oh, look at our nice
let's take the
cemetery.
first one. So is that like one of those things where you go at Christmas to the lights and you listen to it on your radio and it tells you where to go and what light you're listening to?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You see Pokemon, those people walking around chasing Pokemon, it's projecting something, it's like that.
That's a little line.
So number 4, we're not approving this money, we're just talking about it, and you're gonna investigate
Yeah.
more and then
He's gonna
see if, it's legitimate for
see if it's
ground.
worth $4
What are we doing here?
Well, my only question was if it was working for everybody and this was gonna improve it, then I would be in favor of it. But
I think he's more interested in the nuts and bolts
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
just
technical
curious how to
aspect,
get
but
that.
he's for the
Yeah,
overall.
yeah, if it's doing the job, this is, only she would know, because if she's the one that's getting people coming in and applying for buying plots, she's the one that has to do the work of
Yeah.
determining how much and where, so she's got to be using the system the most.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Her and Syra are the
And
admins.
she's responsible for inputting the information, yeah. so-
Or Dawn, actually, too,
Yeah.
who's still. So she works closely with her, and when there's something that Lorena has trouble with, she gets a hold of Dawn.
All right,
That's
all right.
it helps her generally,
So is that where the 4,000 came from?
The quote came from Dawn, because she's the one talking with the site, so they said, hey, if you get, she asked, like, what do we gotta do to get this tip-top whatnot? And
Yeah.
Dawn
Okay.
provided the quote.
Okay.
It's a good feature, I mean, it's.
So
it
it's
adds
legit.
legit,
Legwork,
they'll spend the
yeah.
money and it'll, stuff will get upgraded?
It'll do what you got, yeah, what it will want. I mean, I know that Lorena and Dawn were both very, like, please, Logan.
So we should approve it if you're vouching for them and we can approve that money now?
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
do I hear a motion to accept the proposal from Kim Sites, purchase map and grade level?
I second.
What?
I'll put that in motion.
What?
Who was it
Is
first?
that wrong?
No,
I wanna make a motion that we approve
There
this
you go.
okay.
$4,000 for the mapping, grade mapping update to the sim sites.
I think Carolyn seconded.
And
Do
I
hear a
second.
second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any discussion, further discussion? Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
We're approved.
Approved.
Awesome, thank you guys.
Number 5, Bisbee Home Tour. I was at the last Bisbee Women's Club luncheon, and they have a committee, they're getting ready for the home tour, art chair auctions and everything, and they mentioned that Lowell School is gonna be on the tour, because the old parts of the school and the doors and everything, and I didn't say anything, they said, oh, and the cemetery too, because it's right across the street. So I said, well, I have maps, I'll make sure maps are in the kiosk, and I was like, I think it's a public park, they can do whatever they want, and so just, I told them I would communicate this to
Public Works Director.
the city committee
Yeah.
and the public works director, yeah, just letting you know. That Saturday after Thanksgiving, there may be some visitors, and if you guys could, weed whack at least up that main drag, because that's where people will be walking, and I'll check the flags
It's almost time for
before.
Yeah.
I'll fill the kiosk with the maps and make sure the flags the numbers haven't faded and redo those, and then pick up the maps Saturday afternoon, and then those are the ones I'm gonna redistribute to the 3 places.
And this home tour is day after Thanksgiving?
Saturday, I believe.
Saturday,
It's
so
always
it's
the
Black
Saturday,
Friday, yeah.
that 4-day weekend, yeah.
They usually have docents for each home and stuff. Will they have docents at the?
I don't know, I can ask.
It would, because you said, it's a public park, they do what they want. I don't think there'll be, so there'll be somebody there to.
Guiding.
Yeah, guide them a little bit or tell them.
What would the docent do? Say, here's the map, follow the road?
Stay away from the holes.
Yeah, watch out.
Stay on the
I'm
road.
just-
I'll.
I mean,
You should be walking on the grids anyway.
If you want.
Well, and
What are you
that's
doing?
one of the nice things, when we did that first tour, there's actual paths there. And that's maybe something down the road to identify them. Because that was one of our shortcuts that we took from Betty Base's grave to get to the top or next road up. You walked down and right at one of the cypress, they went, hit the cypress, take a look. And you did, and it was a perfect straightway. I just had to move a couple of rocks just for safety measures, but it was clear. It was almost like it was meant that way. And I got to looking at it the other day, because I've been scoping out again, and it's like, there's a couple of those places, almost intentional but not obvious, if that makes sense. Yeah, to where you can cut
Well,
through.
like people have been doing it for so long.
Right, it almost looks like they laid it out for respectfully, so you're not walking on people, But maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part.
Real quick, I want to ask one more thing. Are there any maps of the cemetery?
What?
Maps of the cemetery, besides these ones? We talked
Like
about.
the
I don't-
grave?
All I've ever seen is
There used
this
to be
and the
one,
kiosk.
I thought, that had like all the little, and I think.
Well, I've seen
Well, there are
copies.
sections too. I have some that are the sections.
Section.
And it shows the individual.
Yeah, and they're hand-drawn and stuff. We have copies at the museum.
Is this all relating to the home tour discussion?
A little bit.
Fantastic.
It is just a little
Okay.
bit. Because of maps.
Yeah.
Like,
I make this
I know, you love maps, Steve.
myself.
No, it sounds like if there were, you know about it.
I can look, man, because that's the thing, is we will discover stuff,
Well, I
unfortunately.
got the
with
ones I got
moving
at
three
the
places,
city.
losing the city hall, there's
I know.
all kinds of places to
The
look,
ones
so.
I got from Lorraine, and she had them all,
Like
and
in stick box.
she went through it.
It took me a hot minute to find the digital one to get that cemetery, the walking tour thing all set up, so. But, I mean, I can look if, like, you're talking like original as-built type.
Anything that would show structures, any, or grading.
Well, it's a good thing to know that
elevations.
these home tours planning on
Yeah.
branching out to us.
Yeah, I think they just, they're showing off Lowell School, and then because it's so convenient.
Plus, it's historic, the cemetery.
Yeah.
Cool cemetery.
Alright. So, anything else on the discussion, home chores down?
No, I was just, informing you guys.
Okay, I will, you said the main drag, the main rows, you wanna get weed whacked at least like a day or two before?
If it looks terrible, I think native grasses are showing,
I think, yeah.
I like wildlife habitat, so I'm not, that's no pressure from me.
Okay.
Doesn't be a fur, but, you know, enough that where it's not a snake.
Yeah,
It's a special cemetery. It's got its special.
It's good for my dad's style.